What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation expert, money mindset and fulfillment coach, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur. Come sit with me while I spill the real tea on what it's like to practice using intentional manifestation, demystify all of the woo-woo and confusing bullshit that comes along with creating the life of your dreams, and give you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, spiritual, and professional growth journey. The goal of this podcast is to support and guide you towards manifesting all of your dreams, shed light on the things that people are too scared to talk about, and encourage you to become the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. I am so happy you are here. Let's fucking do this thing. What's up, loves? Welcome back to another episode of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. As you are listening to this podcast episode, I am currently in Colorado for the week, and I'm so excited to be here. I get to see some of my best friends and my parents, and one of my besties is pregnant. Oh, so excited for her and her husband, and so excited to meet the baby, but really just so grateful that I get to spend time with them and really just like reset and be in some slower paced energy compared to New York City, because New York is such a high paced, high energy, always going. So it's really nice to get to relax and reset and get into my energy before heading back to New York and getting to enjoy the spring there and all of the goodness that is coming in the next few months. There's some really big things that are happening over the next few months that I'm so excited to share with all of you. But on today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that I am wildly passionate about talking about when it comes to manifestation, and something that is incredibly misconstrued when it comes to the manifestation process, especially if you are getting all of your information from sources like TikTok or even some YouTube videos out there. It just like creates a lot of misconception around what it actually takes to attract and manifest a new life and have the life of your dreams. And I think that these different things can happen maybe if you're just trying to manifest a one-off thing. But if you are trying to transform your life, if you are trying to manifest the life of your fucking dreams, then those videos are inaccurate, and you're probably like, Kat, what the hell are you talking about? Because I haven't even said what it is that we're talking about today. But you can probably tell from the title of this podcast episode that your life won't change if you do not change your life. And what I mean by this is that when it comes to manifestation, you will not attract and manifest the life of your dreams. You will not have every single thing that you want if you are not willing to shift, if you are not willing to heal, if you are not willing to transform, if you are not willing to do the fucking work internally, so that then your vibration can elevate, your set point of attraction can elevate into the position where it is so much more easy and effortless for you to shift your external reality. And just like I was saying a minute ago, this is like one of the biggest bullshittiest things that I see in terms of manifestation is people teaching that you can magically have this life transformation, that you can have all of these manifestations show up without changing anything inside of yourself. And the reality of this is, and if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard me say this on different episodes, but the reality is if there was nothing that had to change, then you would already have that reality. Because if that was how manifestation worked, all of us would be living the lives of our dreams. All of us would have every single thing that we want. But we don't, because that's not how manifestation works. Manifestation is much more intricate than that. It takes a lot more than just sitting in your room, writing in your journal, doing whatever the fuck it is and saying, yep, this is what I'm going to have, and then doing nothing about it. Because when it comes to manifestation, it's not just the law of attraction that is at play, which essentially states that like vibration attracts like vibration, but also 12 universal laws that are playing into how you manifest things into your reality. And these 12 universal laws are the 12 universal laws of nature. And us being parts of nature means that these universal laws apply to our lives and the way that, once again, we attract and manifest things into our realities. So what I want all of you to do who are listening right now, if you are not driving, as I always give this disclaimer, if you're driving, do not do this exercise. But if you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to get super clear for just a moment on what it is that you want for yourself, what it is that you desire for your dream life. I want you to visualize that dream life and really get into the emotional state of how you would feel inside of that. And once you've done that, then I want you to really pay attention to who that version of you is. How does she show up for life? How does she feel about herself? How does she feel about money? What does she do? How does she walk? How does she talk? How does she present herself? What are the different things that make up that version of you? And then you can open your eyes at any point, but I want you to recognize that there is a difference between who you are right now and the reality that you're living right now compared to that version of yourself. And a lot of times where this comes up and when people get to this point in the manifestation process, they feel really discouraged because our conditioning and that bitchy little ego voice in our head likes to try and convince us of like, oh God, there's so much work that has to be done, or I'll never get to that position. I can't be that version of myself. There's X, Y, and Z that is standing in my way. What is this person going to think of me? Will I hurt these people if I choose to do that? Whatever the story is, and then keeps you stuck in your current reality, keeps you as the present version of yourself. But the reality of this is that you do not have to look at where you're at right now and where you're wanting to go, who you're wanting to be, and feel discouraged by that, because you get to become that person. You get to do the work that helps you evolve to become that version of yourself. And anything that comes up as a doubt or a block or a limitation, I like to see as an invitation to get creative and an invitation to start to do the healing work, an invitation to celebrate that I've found a place that there is work to be done so that I can continue to ascend and I can continue to go to the next level. I can continue to get to become that version of myself, because the reality is like, if we didn't have the lives that we want to live and there was nothing that was blocking us, there was nothing that was stopping us, there was nothing that was standing in our way, but we still didn't have it, that would be really fucking frustrating. That would be so much more frustrating than looking at these different blocks or different things that are coming up for you that is creating the resistance and that's creating the stagnancy between you and where you're wanting to go, and would be so much worse than being able to find those limitations and find these different things that are stopping you. So if that is something that you experience, I really want to encourage you to shift your perspective on that anything that's coming to the surface in terms of a doubt or a block or a limitation of some sort, it's not something that you have to look at in a frustrated way or a limited way or scarce way. You can look at it through these eyes of like, hell yeah, I just unlocked the next level. I just found the next place that I get to do the work. I just found the place where I get to grow and continue to step into this version of myself. It doesn't have to be this like, ugh, fuck, why this? Why again? and keeping you stuck in old patterns and old conditioning. And truly giving yourself that permission to look at these things as, this is such an opportunity for me. Because the reality is if you choose to take on that opportunity and do the work to move through that resistance or whatever it is that is coming up for you, then that is the thing that allows you to evolve into the version of yourself who gets to easily, effortlessly, naturally have the things that you are wanting to manifest right now. And that is ultimately the goal of manifestation. There's a lot of like manifestation methods out there, journaling things out there that, yes, can be super helpful for you starting to create the belief of becoming the person who gets to have these things. But those manifestation methods and that journaling, the scripting, all of those different things, that is not ultimately going to be what creates your dream life. You taking action, you healing, you changing, you growing, you evolving into this version of yourself and acting the way that she would act, thinking the way that she would think, feeling the way that she would feel, XYZ, all of these different things that I say all the time. That is what is going to create your dream life. You are going to create your dream life. And that cannot happen from your comfort zone. That cannot come from a place of staying exactly where you are and changing nothing about yourself. Because that is what has created the reality that you have right now and will continue to manifest that reality over and over and over again, because you're emitting out the same exact energy that created this reality in the first place. And by the law of attraction, attracting back in that same reality over and over and over again, as opposed to shifting these different things internally inside of yourself, like I had you do with getting clear on who that version of yourself would be, and then taking the steps day by day, little by little, to become that version of yourself. Because little by little, day by day, that creates a big, big shift. And that is going to be the thing that then allows you to be the vibrational match to call in more opportunities and call in more money, call in the people, call in whatever it is that is going to help you create this reality and be that version of yourself. But when we are staying in our comfort zones, we're just going to keep getting the same shit over and over and over again. And this is where majority of people truly just believe that manifestation isn't real, because they're not actually changing or shifting anything inside of themselves. They're not listening to the intuitive pulls to do things or pushing themselves out of their comfort zones in a way that is going to move the needle forward with whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest, and really just keeping you in that position. So what I want to encourage all of you to do is do one thing today or this week that scares the shit out of you. Do one thing that is going to take you out of your comfort zone and bring you closer to that version of yourself that you're wanting to become. And you can ask yourself that question too. You may already know the answer, that there's something that you've been wanting to do, but you haven't been giving yourself permission to do it because you've been so fucking scared. And that is the thing that I want to encourage you to run towards, because those are the things always that are going to help us create the lives that we're wanting to live for ourselves. I remember back when I was starting my intentional manifestation journey, this was a rule that I had for myself every single day, was to do one thing that scared the shit out of me. And every single day as I did it, what essentially it looked like at that time was I was starting to learn about intentional manifestation, and I was so lit up by it and I wanted to share it with the world, but I was so fearful of the judgment of other people that I refused to talk about it with my friends, with my family, with my coworkers, with the people on Instagram. And I kept myself in this position while I was learning about it, that I truly was just keeping it all to myself, even though I knew that I felt intuitively that I wanted to share this message with other people. So when I took a look at, okay, who would the version of myself be that already had all of my manifestations? She would talk openly, she would talk publicly, she would talk in all the ways about manifestation to whoever she could talk about manifestation to. And my duty at that point was to become that version of myself, to evolve, to work past the judgment that I was fearful of receiving, to work past the doubt that I had of that I was going to sound stupid, or that people are going to think that I was crazy, or whatever it was at the time, and show up as that version of myself. And I started to talk about manifestation every single day on my story on Instagram. And if you followed me on Instagram for some time, you may have seen this video, but if not, send me a message on Instagram and let me know if you want me to repost this video. But the first time I decided to step out of my comfort zone and do something that scared the shit out of me by talking on my story for Instagram, it took me 5 hours, I shit you not, to record a 1 minute long video of me talking about manifestation. And then as soon as I posted it, after it took me that 5 hours, I turned my phone off, I screamed, I threw my phone into my bed, and I left my house for another 4 hours because I was so fucking terrified of what I just did, because it took me so far out of my comfort zone. And then when I came back and I turned on my phone and I looked at it and my heart was racing, I was getting so much positive feedback from people who watched my story and were so proud of me for speaking out on these different things and for talking about something that was there and passionate for me. And that was such a pivotal moment for me, because from that day moving forward, I continued to ask myself, what is one thing I can do today that would scare the shit out of me and move me closer to who I'm wanting to become and the life that I'm wanting to live? And through choosing to do that, I have been able to, in less than 2 years, manifest the life of my dreams, because I have been willing to, every single day, take myself out of my comfort zone to become the version of myself who already has all of my manifestations, and work through all of the different limiting beliefs and all of the blockages and all of the different things that come up so that I can continue to elevate. I can continue to become her. And I will be 110% honest in the fact that it hasn't been easy. Taking yourself out of your comfort zone is not easy. Our brains are literally conditioned to try and convince us to go back to our comfort zones because they're safe. Even if you're not happy with your comfort zone, even if your life feels like shit inside of your comfort zone, because that was my reality. My comfort zone sucked. I was so unhappy in my comfort zone, but it was easier for me to be unhappy, and it was easier for me to play the victim to my life and feel like garbage about all of these different things than it was for me to look my shit, look my limiting beliefs, look my traumas, look my things in the eyes and work through them and continually take myself out of my comfort zone and scare the shit out of myself so that I can now be the version of myself that I always wanted to be, and can now continue to grow and elevate and bring myself to greater and greater levels. And I will also say, in addition to this, that it does get easier. It gets so much fucking easier to take yourself out of your comfort zone, because once you start to create the evidence for your subconscious mind that taking yourself out of your comfort zone, taking that leap of faith, doing the things that scare you, that evidence gets stored up in your subconscious mind as something that is safe for you to do, that is something that you can do, that's something that brings you the result that you want. And through that, then it becomes so much easier to surrender to the different things that help you evolve and help you take yourself out of your comfort zone. But when you're first initially getting started with this, it can feel super challenging. And something that I suggest for everybody who's listening to this podcast episode is like, don't do it alone. Whether that mean you pair up with one of your besties and you both go on this journey together and you hold each other accountable, or you find professional guidance in this, such as getting a coach, joining the Abundant AF Babe Academy, whatever it is, then that is going to help you stay accountable to taking yourself out of your comfort zone and continuing to move the needle forward towards all of the different manifestations that you're wanting to call in. Because left to our own devices, we will go back to our comfort zones. We will go back to the old shit. We will stay in old patternings and old conditioning. And I know this from my personal experiences that when I tried to create change by myself for years and years and years, I would self-sabotage the fuck out of all of the change that I was trying to make. And I would send myself into my comfort zone and even further into a place that I did not want to be in because it was so uncomfortable for me to try and create this change on my own. And that's when I decided to hire my first coach, because I truly recognized that in order for me to live a life that I've never had, I have to do things that I've never done. And that meant for me to hire a coach, to have that support, to have that guidance from somebody who is going to help me actually work through the resistance and the different things that were coming up so that I could step so fully into this version of myself and create that safety with evolving, with taking myself out of my comfort zone, and truly just like elevating into the greatest version of myself. So just like I said, that's what I encourage for all of you. And I hope that this podcast episode was really eye-opening for you in terms of what must happen in order for you to start to create that dream life, and that it honestly takes more than just writing in your journal or doing these rituals or whatever. It really takes you changing yourself, your belief systems, your life in order for big things to change, in order for you to manifest that dream life. So that's what I have for you on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please screenshot this episode, share it to your Instagram story so that I can see and so that you can share it with other people, because the more people who get to hear this podcast, the more that I get to make an impact on the world and the better I get to serve all of you. So please do that for me. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you left me a review on iTunes so that I can hear how you are enjoying the podcast and once again, continue to better support all of you. But with that being said, I'm going to end the podcast episode here. I love you all so much, and I'll chat with you soon. Oh my gosh, thank you for listening to today's episode. I am so grateful to have these no bullshit talks with you. If you enjoyed today's episode or the podcast as a whole, please spread the love by leaving me a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with others. This is how I will be able to spread more of these good vibes and be able to make more of an impact on the lives of others. And if you're not already part of all of the goodness and communities that I have to offer, check out the show notes. I have links to the different ways that I can support you on your manifestation journey and help you live a life full of more money, fulfillment, and freedom. But that is all for now. So big love and hugs, and I will chat with you soon, babe.